Santoyo. I work here at the Center for New Medicine. I'm a technician for Dr. Keneally. One of the services that we provide here, Dr. Keneally has acquired what's called the SEP. Okay, the SEP is a electrohydraulic system that produces a very intense pressure pulse. Okay, 25,000 volts goes through this cable. It reacts with there's a chemical compound in here that gets triggered with the electricity, and it produces a very, very strong pressure pulse. It's kind of like being at a parade and you feel the bass drums coming by and you feel it on your body. Well, this would be more directed in that regard. It's based on lithotropy. In the mid-80s, gentleman, Dr. Andrew Haig, helped receive the first lithotropy systems in England. And from that, the work is based on that. Lithotropy is used everywhere, actually, around the world to break up kidney stones. Works really good for that. It's real precise, and by design, this is not precise. It goes into the body and goes all around. So, why do we use it on our cancer patients? Specifically for cancer, it's been discovered that cancer is really an electrical fault. So, normal healthy tissues have a positive and negative polarity to it. Your liver is positive on the outside, negative on the inside. Your kidneys, everything, all your systems are that way. And they emit a clockwise rotational force outward from the body. Everybody has it all day long, everywhere. Cancer, what it does, it tries to hide from the body and the body's immune system. It uses it develops a fibrogen sheath over itself that helps hide it. It also reverses its polarity. So it's negative on the outside, positive on the inside. Unfortunately, your body has very little chance of getting to it and fighting it. So when it's exposed to the very intense pressure pulses of this system, we'll use this for dramatic effect. Little battery, positive and negative. When the cancerous area is assaulted, if you will, by the very intense pressure pulses, it tries to hide and it reverses its polarity. Once that's done, it doesn't know how to flip back. It stays there, it's stuck, and it's now unable to reproduce any bad RNA. That fibrogen sheath that also protects it, it gets holes punctured in it. It's called electroporation. So the whole process is really beneficial overall for the patient. There's no silver bullet, if you will, to help every patient for every malady, every concern in that regard. But we have found that this is really, really beneficial treatment to the overall treatments that we have here at the center. When they leave our room here, they're in a really good fighting position for anything else they're going to do. Overseas, India and Spain, oftentimes it's used as a standalone treatment. There are other, issues and concerns that the doctors have with their patients, but oftentimes they use it as a standalone and they go about their business and they're doing very well. We're a cog in the whole system. The overall betterment for the patient is drastically improved. The other benefits that we use it here at the center for SEP, for pressure pulse treatments, is really good for musculoskeletal issues as well as endocrine dysfunction. So if you have high blood sugar, if you have pancreas issues, if you have adrenal fatigue, the intense pressure pulses can treat those areas, and it institutes a healing process.
How does it institute the healing process? What does that pressure pulse do to
well,
the body?
the pressure pulses, what they do is they create a microsecond, a millisecond of traumatic effect, a compression to the tissues. Your body feels that as a trauma and sends all the good healing properties to that area.
So it's like basically creating hormesis within the body,
Sure.
like a healthy stress.
Right. And so it's really good for ligaments, muscles. It helps with bone restructuring, healing, reinstitutes a stalled healing process because of the pulsed electromagnetic frequencies that are also emitted.
What happens to the cancer cells after they switch polarity? So now they've reversed polarity,
Right.
and they've got like some punctured holes in the sheath around it.
Right.
Then what does the patient need to be focused on at that point in terms of, and what does the body do with those cancer cells at that point?
So your immune factors and the treatments that the doctors do, there's numerous treatments to help the patient rid themselves of that burden. In and of itself, our goal is to really just flip the polarity. Once that's done, it's up to the body's immune system and all the other modalities that they're going to do here to rid the body of it. Keep in mind that once the body has been interrupted by the cancer, if you will, you have more problems than just the cancer. More often than not, it's going to be a host of other issues that are going to need to be resolved. This is taking care of that all-important aspect of repolarizing to give yourself a really good chance at prolonged success.
So at that point, you need to be really focused on all of the immune-enhancing,
all the immune
factors.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Great. Anything else people need to know either about this machine specifically or even about, some of the immune system things that people should be focusing on to help their body rid itself of cancer?
I think the doctors talk about it in detail. Is a healthy attitude. We see that all the time. Is that understandably the patient's going to be upset and sad and all those things that go along with it. But I found that the patient with the good attitude, knowing what they're up against, and are in for the fight. They know they're up against it, and no one's fault in particular, but they just have to be able to focus on their attitude. I think attitude is so important. It's probably one of the most important things.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right, so we had a patient who had a history of cancer in both breasts. She had a double mastectomy. She had applied some salve that a doctor somewhere had recommended to her, and it ended up just eating the skin away. So she was open wound, shoulder to shoulder. Felt really bad for her. She came in, she was on oxygen, in a wheelchair. She was really bad. And we treated her for the cancer. We were able to help her with that. And then another aspect that this is really great for is for wound healing. So the pressure pulse waves institute a healing process. And with this gal, within about a month, maybe five sessions, she had about a nickel-sized wound, open wound left on her upper right side of her chest. It was incredible. Also, within that time frame, she was no longer on oxygen and no longer in a wheelchair. She was walking down a hallway saying, "Hi, John," and I'm like, wow, it's great. But it works really good for wound repair. Also, plantar fasciitis, that foot disorders. It works really good to help repair plantar fasciitis. The problem is in certain areas it can be very unpleasant to the point where you might need lidocaine or xylocaine injection pre-treatment. But it works really good for healing that. Bone spurs as well. There's a gentleman in Minnesota who uses the system. He's a physical therapist and he helps musculoskeletal injuries strictly. Does a great job with it.
Great. Well, thank you so much, John. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much.
We hope you enjoyed this short excerpt from the Health and Healing Club. This entire interview is available inside the Health and Healing Club, which you can try for a free 7-day trial at healthandhealingclub.com. You'll be able to access this interview and all the interviews and resources dedicated to helping you get and stay healthy at the Health and Healing Club. That's healthandhealingclub.com.